Welcome, everyone. We're back, and it's Wednesday. We had a great day yesterday. Whoo, talk about hot, hot, hot. It was about 27 degrees Celsius yesterday for us. And of course, we had got ice cream and did the usual, but we didn't stay out very long. Everybody was in parking lots and having barbecues. I'm like, okay, dude, do you see that sun? Is there any shade around here? No. But it was a great day. It was a great day. We're talking about changing perspectives. You see, sometimes we say things. Let me just give you the example then. When people say, oh my God, I'm so lazy. Oh my God, I'm such a procrastinator. Those are neurological behaviors. But you see, we judge so much. Oh, look at you. You're lazy. Blah, blah, blah. That's the top one that people use. Talking about them being lazy. When in actuality, it's a neurological behavior. It's a pattern. It's a habit. And if you examine what that behavior is, you will see that you feel perhaps overwhelmed. And what causes overwhelm? By taking on more than we can chew. Feeling the need to always be doing. Heaven forbid one should take a moment to relax. Oh, but if you relax, you're lazy. If you take a break, you're lazy. Come now. You see, that added pressure creates overwhelm. And when you create overwhelm, guess what happens? Nobody does anything because you don't know where to begin. So to make your life simpler, change your perspective. Recognize that when you're tired, you need rest. And if you say, yeah, but Angela, I have this problem with starting and never finishing, I'm telling you right now, you always start and you always finish. But what happens with us is we keep looking at the whole thing all the time when if we would be where you are in that moment, I'll give you an example. I have to finish some edits. It is in the queue for me to finish for this audiobook. And when you do any kind of narration, you always want the same tone. And if you are tired, the voice sounds different. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I know I have to record this. But I have to finish what I'm doing first. And then the feeling of, oh, look at you. You could hurry and get it done. Well, you know you can. It doesn't even take you that long. You can just hurry and do it. Who'll notice the difference? I'll notice the difference because it doesn't sound the same. So you have to finish what you've already started. And the feelings of, oh, I'm such a disappointment. I'm making them wait so long. What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? When you talk to yourself like that, do you think you feel better? Do you think you feel inspired to do the work? No, you don't. You will find more reasons to procrastinate. So go within. Huh? Go within, Angela. Whatever do you mean? Look at what you're doing. If you have a task, see, look at the space between starting the task and ending it. That space. It is that space in there where you have to inspire yourself to do the work. You see, we seem to think that we can force ourselves into doing something. If you are not in the mood, you do not act. I know people say, well, that's contrary, Angela, because I'm not in the mood to go to work and I get up and I go because I got to. You are in the mood to pay your bills. So you get up and you go. As much as you may resent what you're doing, you get up and you go because you are driven to do so by the fact that you don't want to live under the bridge. So again, you are always moved to act by the mood. So the space between wanting to do the thing and actually doing it, the space between there is the mood. Listen, for me, sometimes it can be challenging to start the project. But once I start, the love of what I do keeps me going. I finish that book in no time. And this is the thing with me, I do not like doing edits. That's why when I'm working on a project, I take my time. But the moment I'm rushed, the words of my father go through my head. Rush the brush, waste the paint. See, when you rush to try and get through things, you make mistakes. Just simply take your time and stop beating yourself up about being lazy and procrastinating. You have to start. And once you start, you will finish. You will. You'll finish. And how will you finish? By checking that mood. And it's funny because checking the mood is changing the perspective. Change the perspective. If you are riddled with guilt and shame, what kind of mood do you think you're in? Are you going to work from that? How are you going to work from that? Listen, you'll be dragging yourself. And guilt and shame is nobody's friend. People say we should bring back public shaming. Yeah, because that teaches us how to change, does it? No, it doesn't. It is the fastest way to breed resentment and hatred. One cannot force change. Change is inspired from within. It is very interesting to observe these things as they happen. Just observe yourself. If you find that you're struggling with, I feel so lazy today, you find that you're struggling with that, it's all right. It is. Angela, how can it be all right if nothing gets done? It is all right. Remember the principle of rhythm, the ebb and the flow. You can't have high tide all the time. You can't have low tide all the time. So they come and they go. You're going to have moments where you just feel like doing nothing. Because that is the mood that you're in. So if you're in the mood of doing nothing, you won't do anything. And that is all right. There's no point in being in the mood of doing nothing and beating yourself the whole time you're there. Because then you really won't move. Whereas that mood only lasts for a moment. And a moment is relative. If you find that you're always in that particular mood, now it's become a habit, right? Well, you're doing the same thing the same way every time. So if you find that it is a habit for you to always be in that mood, now you got to ask yourself some questions. Well, how do you know the difference between the habit and just a passing mood? A passing mood is just that. It passes. It may take a week to pass. It may take 2 weeks to pass. It may take a month to pass, but it passes. A habit, on the other hand, is where you live. A habit is what you keep doing over and over and over. And sometimes that is the challenge, to recognize the habit. But you will see it if you pay attention and don't judge. What do I mean by don't judge? When you see that you're doing something, don't smack your forehead and go, oh, I'm such a loser. Why me? Why you gotta test me, God? That's judgment, you know. Look at the thing you're doing. Are you doing it day in and day out, every day, all day? Well, then you got a habit on your hands. You do not judge the habit. A habit is just the behavior that you're doing all the time. And the great news is this. We are created to be conditioned. Oh, you doubt me. We were created to be conditioned. But here's the beauty. We may have been created to be conditioned, but the freedom lies in conditioning yourself. This is why Romans 8:28 is so important. I forget where I was. I was in it. No, I was on another app, and somebody got really mad and said, "I hate it when you people use the Bible. The Bible can't teach you anything. It's blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Slow your roll. Now here's some pure raw pain coming at you. Wow." You see, if you listen to people, you will learn much. You don't judge, though. I understood where she was coming from. I did. So what do you do in that what do you do in that moment? You use something else. Of course. You see, now here's the thing. Simply observe your behavior. Because when you observe your behavior, you will learn how to change your perspective. You just will. You keep looking at the same thing all the time. You're going to keep having the same response all the time. Why? Because every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. So you keep the same stimulus, you will get the same stimulation. Change the stimulus, stimulation will change. Angela, that seems so easy. And if it was that easy, wouldn't everybody be doing it? And here's the thing. It is so easy that everybody does it. They just are unaware. Because you can't do anything other than that. We always live by way of principles. Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Do you grasp what that means? It means you are aware of your very existence. You are always aware. Sometimes that awareness has been dulled, though. And we're so quick to call people NPCs, non-playable characters. Like, come along now. It's just simply walking in a state of unawareness. Oh, they are aware that they exist. You can't not be aware that you exist. You are always aware that you exist, and everything has awareness. Everything has awareness. Even those things that we think are inanimate, they have awareness. In the field of work that I do, it is very interesting to know that a house breathes. You know that? A house inhales and it exhales. How do you know? If you got mold growing, baby, it is not inhaling, nor is it exhaling. Cause and effect. But we said, but Angela, that's not breathing, is it not? It is an exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out. Oh, my beautiful KZ. I see you. So here's the thing. Everything is aware. Everything is aware. Everything. Even our cars. Even the one that drives itself has to do what? It has to be aware of its surroundings. As I said, everything is programmed. Whether it be human or device, everything is programmed. But the key is to be able to program yourself. And we program ourselves, you know? Somebody gives a suggestion and we run with it without discernment or without thought. And we program ourselves to do what they want, as opposed to getting up every day and recognizing, what is it that I want to become? Remember, I'm not asking you if you think it is impossible. That is not the question. And there's a reason why I didn't ask that question. I don't want the answer to that question. I want the answer to the other one. What do you want to become? This is why when I'm at work, and I'm especially at the store when I'm on the till, and there's a point system, you know, people have points and it will pop up when they have points. And I ask them just a very simple question. Do you want to use them or keep them? You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to answer that question. And I ask it again, use them or keep them. There's only 2 words you have to say. Use it, keep it. You see, the simpler things are, and that's why the principles are amazing. They are very simple. Correspondence. As within, so without. As above, so below. It does not get any simpler than that. Whatever you've got going on above, in your mind, you will see the evidence of it. I had a thought the other day where they were talking about astrology and something in this house and something in that house and something is juxtaposed. And I thought to myself, did we ever stop to think that perhaps we influence the stars? The stars don't influence us, we influence the stars. People say, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. Listen, I have no idea what the hell that means. In my 9th house, in this house, I have no idea what that means. Not for lack of trying. But no, the simpler thing is, I am the cause. And what is so beautiful about it, to know that you're the cause, you bend everything around you to bring about the effect, to match you. And it's always, we've been so conditioned to look outside of ourselves for the cause. When in actuality, nothing happens on the outside without your participation. But you see, we don't want to hear that part because we think it is a judgment upon ourselves. When in actuality, if you are aware of the fact, people say, well, Angela, I didn't bring that upon myself. I would never do that to myself. And you're right. We don't deliberately do those things to ourselves. But this is why I am going to have a class on this one, because it needs more time to break it down and answer your questions. Because people always say, no child asked for that. And they didn't. Not with any words. But what happens is this. The moment you treat a child in a particular way, you leave an impression upon that child's mind. And it is the impression upon the mind that creates the reality. This is why I tell you, it doesn't judge you. It is always the impression that is left behind that we live from. So the impression that you leave upon the child is where they live from. This is why we have to always be cognizant and cautious about the types of impressions we leave. And it is a bit challenging in some instances. But this is why kindness will always win out. Because sometimes our words, you may not think the words are harsh. And this is why sometimes I always have to check my tone when I'm sharing information and speaking, because I get so passionate. I don't ever want someone to feel as if they're being browbeaten, because that leaves an impression. And it is from that impression they will live. So I do my best to make sure that what I say to you and how I say it to you is most important. Because the message that you hear, the application of it, is what is most important when you're planting that seed, right? So that's why it's important. And sometimes it can be hella challenging to be kind. Oh, believe me, I know. Sometimes it can be. Sometimes it can be. But if we take a moment to remember, as within, so without. And you're not just reminding yourself of as within, so without for you. You're reminding yourself as within, so without for the people you're dealing with. So that when I get a customer who calls and says anything of the sort, like, why are you not there? Why is it taking so long? I simply ask the question, how many days on your hand can you count of good weather that we've had so far in the city where any work could have been done? And you know, they always stop and they say, you know what, you're right. It only seems long because winter took so long. I said, and no one can work in the winter, can they? And then they say, I understand, Angela, I understand. I said, I know, it's all right. I know these things take time and I appreciate your patience. You see, it's not that you're uncaring or whatever the situation is. You and I want the same thing, to be heard and to be understood. That is what we all want, to be heard and to be understood. As within, so without. So practice on a daily basis changing your perspective. Even though the person who is as prickly as a porcupine, as within, so without. If they're prickly on the outside, you can believe there's some kind of agitation going on the inside that's causing them to be as they are on the outside. My son is so funny. He always says, Ma, that sounds like a you problem. I tell him, child, if you don't get that job done, it's gonna be an our problem. You know? And sometimes we're so quick to say, oh, well, that's a you problem. I get it. It is a you problem. It is a you problem. But we never have to leave the other deserted. We never have to desert each other. Ever. I remember the story that Neville Goddard told of the man who was walking by and he saw this man with a dog and he was homeless. And I think it was the one with the dog. I don't remember all of it, but he gave the homeless guy money. And then when he passed by again, the homeless man was drunk. And he made a vow to himself, never again would he give to homeless people. And I forget something that happened in the story that Neville Goddard told, but at the end of the story, he changed his perspective and he started doing something different. He started, every time he saw someone who was homeless, he didn't judge them. He would stop within himself and elevate himself, meaning when he looked at them or anything, he would wish the best for them, that they would find the solution and be steady on their feet and not be in that position anymore. And the reason why his perspective changed is because after he did it, he encountered that homeless man. He'd forgotten, but the homeless man approached him. The formerly homeless man approached him and said, "You may not remember me, but I remember you and what you did for me that day." So you see, we are always in a position to assist another. It just simply takes a change in perspective. I'm not here to judge you, and you're not here to judge me. But when you encounter people and situations that you just don't know what to deal with, remember this: as within, so without. You know what? Everybody wants peace, don't they? Of course they do. Well, then you say, in your mind's eye, genuinely mean it. Because sometimes you walk by and say, wow, that can't be a happy existence. You know what? I'm sure you want to be free of that. How do you know that they want to be free of that? Because nobody wants to smell bad. Nobody wants to be under the bridge. Nobody wants to go hungry. That is not what any of us want, and you know it as well as I do. So you stop within yourself and you elevate them to a place of peace and tranquility, and to see their freedom and to take full advantage of it so that they change their perspective to get their best life. It's a simple thing and it costs us nothing to do. Right? A simple change in perspective will help you to heal your life. Instead of the complaining about the situation that you're in, what is the solution? What would make that thing better? What would you be doing in reality if you didn't have that problem anymore? Well, then that's the solution. And that's where you turn your thoughts to. And you go through all of the possibilities of the things that you would be doing if you were the person you wanted to be. Literally, you are changing not just your perspective, but you're changing your brain chemistry. Every cause has its effect. Every cause. So if you change your perspective, you've changed the cause. But remain consistent. Remain faithful to the change that you've just done. But Angela, it seems like it takes so long. Of course it does, because everything moves really slowly where we are. But take your time and don't compare yours. I didn't even turn the sound on. I just read the caption, and it said this woman is in her 40s and she feels like she's a failure in life and she's comparing herself to this person, and that's the problem. You're 40 and yeah, but look at Stephanie, look at Kate, look at Karen. They're 40 and they're so much better than I am. You know what that means? It means you also have the ability to accomplish because they're the same age. So you have the ability to accomplish. A change in perspective is necessary. If you're going to look at somebody and compare yourself to them, you know what you do? You look and you say, I wonder what their mindset is. You don't look at the things they have, you look at their mindset. You might not even like David Goggins. You might not even know who he is, but look at his mindset. His mindset is, can't hold me back. You can't hold me down. I'm always going to rise to the top. That is his mindset. But what do we say sometimes? We find a good meme, we go, I'm going to steal that meme. Hey, how about you steal that mindset? How about you look at that mindset and say, I wonder if I applied that mindset, if I would have the same outcome. Well, you'd have to test it. And in order for us to test it, we have to change the mindset, change the perspective. And like I said, sometimes it can feel overwhelming. You can feel like Chicken Little. The world is falling. But that is a perspective. It's a perspective. So what would happen if I changed my perspective? You see, we talk about tests all the time. Testing, testing. But we don't test ourselves. What is the purpose of testing yourself? To see what you have retained and if you are applying it correctly. When you're learning how to drive, you need to practice staying in your lane. Hello? You've got to learn. I got to drive straight. So you keep the wheels straight. But listen, where the eyes go, the car goes. I'm going to say it to you again. Where your eyes go, your car goes. Why do you think your driving instructor always says, look ahead in that turn? Where are you going to turn? Look there. So if it works in driving, where else does it work? So you want to change your life, you have to look in the direction of your change. You keep looking at the things to complain about. Where are you going to go? What kinds of experiences will you have? This is why a change of perspective is important. And you don't change perspective once in the heat yesterday. You had to change a couple of times. My. When you find the perspective that you want, remain faithful to it. And because you keep doing it the same way every time, you have successfully programmed yourself to change, thereby changing your life so that you can do what? Walk with a pep in your step to say, I did it, I did it, I did it. What else can I do? What else can I change about myself? You see, and that way you are driven to change from where? Within. You're driven to change from within. So, my beautiful friends, I shan't keep you. But remember, listen, sometimes I wonder about myself. If I do something and I'm like, oh, I say, oh, I see you, correspondence. I see you. As within, so without. I see you. I see you. Why do I say that? Because there's something that I was changing on the inside, and I saw it on the outside. I said, I see you. I changed. I see it. I see it. And I get excited. And I say, well, that's good. I remained faithful. So now all I can do is be faithful to this. And I carry on. Something else arises and I say, well, I did it over there. Let's do it over here. And every time I want to get overly emotional about something, I say, oh, rhythm, I see you. Rhythm compensates. With whatever level of intensity I have, that is the level of intensity of the experience. And I say, I see you, rhythm, I see you. And it causes me to check myself every single time so that I remain in a level or balanced place. And when I feel any guilt or shame, I do the same thing. I said, oh, as within, so without. You want that on the outside as an experience? No. And I changed my perspective real fast because I know what that stuff brings. So that when I commit to doing something, it was deliberate as opposed to, oh man, and I got caught up and carried away in the feeling. At first, it seems challenging and overwhelming and seems to be nitpicky, but it isn't. Not once you get the hang of it. And now you're not living on autopilot blindly. Nah, you're living on autopilot deliberately because you set the autopilot. So that it doesn't matter where you go in the world, who you interact with, you'll be able to see things. Because you see, it sharpens intuition, your inner knowing. We all have it. But it means you can look at a situation when you look at it through the lens of the principles and you see how a person behaves. You're like, oh, I'm picking up what you're laying down. And then you make sure you check yourself that you're like, whoa, I'm only passing by you, honey. I'm not entangling with that. And it saves us a lot of heartache, you know. It really does save us a lot of heartache. Because then we don't take offense. What did you say to me? Who you think you're talking to? Listen, Linda, when you recognize that, you say, oh, what is that? That's not what I want for my day. And you change your perspective on a dime. See, that you never have to be prisoner to anything. And like I said, some situations, when you're in them, it'll take every ounce of mental fortitude you've got. Oh, yeah. But the great news is this. Where the eyes go, the car goes. So where you put your attention is what you will experience. Every single time. So whatever it is you're going through today, know that you can make it through. You don't have to force your way through. Change your perspective. Yes. Even though it feels like your back is against the wall. Hey, if your back is against the wall, ain't nobody behind you. You're safe there. If your back is against the wall, you can push forward from there. Is that not what we do? You ever seen people leaning on the wall with their foot on the wall? What do? They push off. There's something bracing you. It's a change in perspective. The, the wall that your back is against is not your enemy. Use it as a springboard now to propel yourself forward. Oh, Angela, that's so easy for you to say because you ain't never been in nothing. Let me tell you something, Linda. You don't know because I don't make it my business to come on here and tell you all the challenges that I've got. Because what good is that? Because then I keep that shit alive in my own life, and I'm not about that. So that's why I don't tell you, because it is the constant regurgitation of the problem that makes it persist. So I don't tell you my problems. I look at my problems through the lens of the law and I change my perspective because I can clearly see where I don't want to be. So that's what I tell people when they say to me, you don't have problems. That's why you can talk the way you do. What good is it for you to know my problems? Because now you take them on. And not only do you have your own, but now you have mine. So would I be doing you a service or a disservice? Would I be making it heavier for you or lighter for you? I'm here to make it lighter for you, to tell you that you can make it through every situation. Because you can see where you are. Right now, you can see where you are. Then the question becomes, step one, what or where or who do you want to become? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? That's the first question, depending on where you are. What, where, or when, or who? It depends on the situation you're in. That's the question you will ask. And step two, what would you be doing if you didn't have that problem? What would you be doing? There's something you would be doing. Because why am I asking? Because it is the evidence. The evidence that will prove to you, because you're going to come upon that evidence. What would you be doing if you didn't have that problem? And you take your time in that question. Well, I'd be doing this. Wait, no. I'd be doing this. Wait. No. I'd be doing this. You know what? That sounds great, but no. I think I'd be doing this. What are you doing there? Every time you go through what you would be doing, you are changing your perspective. And where the eyes go, the car goes. Right? It's the same as if you complain. You look at all the things that could go wrong. What are you doing? Right? So, when you answer the question of what would you be doing, you open up yourself to the possibilities of them going in the way you want them to be and you changing. So when you do step two, you're opening yourself up and you're saying, wait, no, I'd be doing this. Ah, shoot. No, wait. And you notice how each one keeps getting better and better until you're going to land on the one that feels the most natural. You'll be like, yeah, you know what? I'd be doing that. And you see the feeling that comes along with it? Your body already registered the feeling. So long as your body registers that feeling, it is true. Your body wouldn't register it any other way. It has to be true to your body. Because remember, your body is only registering what you tell it to be true. It doesn't deal in falsities. It only registers what you tell it to be true. So whether or not you believe a lie or you believe the truth, it only registers what you believe to be true, as within, so without. So as you start to have the feeling of, yeah, that is what I'd be doing, well, then you stay in that feeling. And you keep, you know how you have rosary beads? Or a stone, a smooth stone, you call it a worry stone, and you keep rubbing it and rubbing it and rubbing it. Yes, you keep worrying it. That's the best word I could use. Which means you keep in contact with it, touching it, moving it, feeling it, being in it, in its presence. And you have literally now, through feeling and repetition, formed a new neurological pathway inside your brain, as within, so without. You think the brain is within? It's within your skull, but the brain is without. Oh, yes, it is. It shows you. It is the evidence. So it is without. It is the effect. So the mood that you occupy the most is what is forming your neurological pathway. And remember, we don't live logically. Because if we lived logically, you would not be heating up a spoon or on the crack pipe. Nobody wants to live like that. Everybody wants a beautiful smile, so you're not going to be doing meth. Logically, we know that. But neurologically, that's what drives us. So get in there by asking yourself, what would I be doing if I were the man or the woman I wanted to be? What would I be doing? And you answer that question and you allow the feeling to emerge and you immerse yourself in that. And you make that neurology, hey, baby. Ow. And every time you lay down that new neurological pathway, that's what you're going to have to live by. So, my beautiful friends, a change in perspective is required. Okay? Just stay faithful. Lord, have mercy. Just stay faithful. Step 1, know who and what it is you want to become or where you want to be. Step 2, oh, you ain't ready yet, a little bit. What would you be doing? And step 3, allow the feeling to take you over and immerse yourself in it and do it all day, every day, as many times until it becomes your neurological pathway. Takes on the tones of reality, and that is what you live by. KZ, I see you. I don't know who the others are that are here in these YouTube and Facebook streets, but I see you. And for the others who've not made themselves known, I see you. Hello. Symmetric, I see you, love, here in these Twitter streets. Ow, not tumbleweed Twitter today. Who's on Fanbase? Ooh, a lot of scroll. Oh my, it's a party in here today. Hey, Ray Ray. Beautiful ones, hello. Ricky Tan. Miss McQueen. Hey, girl. Big Mike is in the house. Hello, John. Flo smiles. I see you. Zarian, I see you. And we all here a little bit. We all here a little bit. Because he's ready for the day. I'm going to put him in the basement, though. Because, remember, they have a core body temp of 105 degrees Fahrenheit, yeah? Which is about 50 something, I think. So they're hot. So the basement is cool. I'll take them both today. Is in the basement so they can frolic. It's hardwood down there, so I'm not fretting about it. Yes, a little bit. I'm coming to feed you. So my beautiful friends today, remember, a subtle change in your perspective will do you a world good. And that is where you will tap into that inner joy that is there. You will tap into that inner peace that is always there. Oh, yes. You think it's lost and you got to find it? No, it's right there. You're just too busy with the other perspective. Change your perspective. Change will do you good. Ain't that Sheryl Crow? Look, I don't even remember. But anyhow, I love you. And yeah, I didn't hear you the first time a little bit. How about we get a little louder? Relax. I'm coming to hug and kiss you. I know. I think I told you guys when Lady got up off the egg. When she got up off the egg, I shone my light in there. Oh, there's a baby in there. There's a little chick in that egg because I could see it. I saw that chick in the egg and I was like, ooh, this is nice. And so she's doing what she's doing. She's on that egg. She's a good mama. She's on that egg. So what's today? Today's the 2nd. Oh, we got 9 days. 9 days and we're gonna have a baby chick. Not Ricky Tan. Yes, my hen is sitting on an egg. She's broody. So we got her an egg from the incubator, and she's gonna hatch a baby. Yeah, I'm rooting for a hen, okay? Because there's enough roosters in the bunch now. We need a hen, okay? Anywho, that's what she's doing. So I'm excited. We only have 9 days remaining. Ooh, and we're gonna have a baby. Yeah. I'm excited about that. Really, I am. So, anywho, I love you all. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2. There it is. Ow. I'll see you on the morrow at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Fanbase. Ooh, I almost said it. It almost came out my mouth. I almost said TikTok. But anyway, I love you all. You know you know where to find me. You can slide into my DMs if you got questions. And I'll be here. I'll respond. And if you got my WhatsApp, holla at your girl. So, I'll see you in the morning. I'm gonna close. Oh, fan base, you know I always close you last, right? Hold on. Symmetric, darling, I'll see you soon. Peace out and have a most beautiful day. Twitter is closed. Listen, I slept with my fan on all night.